Learn how this broker went from 0 to 7 loans in just 30 days. We have a special guest on here, and I'm excited to have Reed Letson. How you doing, brother?
Good man, good man. How are you?
Man, I'll tell you what, any better. I just could not stand life. Things are well, man. I'm glad to have you on here. We don't have Dallas on here mucking it up and talking crazy. So it's just you and me. How about that?
I'm okay with that. I talk to him enough anyway, so.
Yeah. Dallas, one of these days, he's going to listen to this and be like, hey, stop it. I like to give my business partner a little bit of crap. That's okay. But hey, we're really happy to have you on here. And for you out there, this could be a really good episode for you to change some maybe some mental barriers that are going on, and we're going to talk about how Reed here, him and his team went from 0 to 7 loans in 1 month in a new state. So Reed here has been crushing loans in different his home state, opened up another state, and boom, just like that, went from 0 to 7, and he's had great growth here lately. And I'm very happy that he's actually in our Genius Loan Officer program as well and platform. And he's just taking off and crushing it in business and life. And looking forward to sharing your story there, Reed.
Absolutely.
So Reed, what's transpired here lately that's kind of got that? And tell us a little bit about the steps that maybe it took going into a new state. I know it took go through the licensing and everything. You got the license done. You got to strong arm the licensing department because they're not fast.
New Mexico is not fast.
Yeah.
So I can say that I'm originally from Alabama, so we do things a little bit slower. Being in Colorado, New Mexico is obviously just connecting borders, and I thought it would be a great way to expand my business into a new state, being right next to one another. So it's not like it's across the country or anything like that. So the licensing process, to be quite honest, is brutal. You've actually reached out to another broker here in Colorado. He just got licensed in New Mexico shortly before I did. And he basically told me, he's like, hey, make sure you have this, this, and this. And here's the flow chart that they want, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, hey, here's some advice, great advice. And we actually got, when they reviewed the application, it went, there was no kickback, which would have delayed even more. I think the one thing to getting your license in any state is start harassing the regulators that are reviewing the application.
Yeah.
Just calling them constantly, just like, hey, where we are in the process.
Yep.
And one day I called and she's like, oh, I'm going to review it today.
Yeah.
Or actually, she said this week, and then I think it was that day or the same day or the next day. They actually approved my application.
Nice.
So it's really about being persistent, making sure that they are staying on top of it and everything else. So that was it was about a 5 to 6 week process from getting everything set up, paying all their fees and everything else to getting fully licensed up. So.
Yeah. Well, I think that anybody listening, if you're getting new license in new state, always reach out, or you're changing companies, to get that license moved over. Just if you're
it's not
nice, if you sell, right, always be selling, right. So you got to be like, hey, here's the why. Like when I moved over, I was like, hey, I'm not just a loan officer doing 1 or 2 deals a month here. I'm doing a lot of loans, and this is really, really vital, and want to take care of these families, and just in a nice way. And like, you tell them what the reason is, and you're nice to them, and you have a little salesmanship, and hey, sometimes you get bumped up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So awesome. So you went into this new state and then you slung 7 loans in the first 30 days. You know, we were talking before and you thought that, hey, I may only, you know, this is probably in the first 30 days, won't get any or get maybe 1 or 2, and 60, 90 days we'll start really tracking. But you all just shot out of the cannon and got 7 loans in that first 30 days. So, you know, what went into some of those steps to be able to just start crushing it right off the bat?
It's really about building those partnerships, relationships. So we are, you know, we hired on a new loan officer, and she was helping with boots on the ground. Is, hey, I'm moving from one company to the other. You don't know this company, but trust me, it's going to be much better for your client. It's going to be much better for the borrower, all around loan experience. And you know, anytime, I mean, you can probably attest to this. Anytime you switch companies from one to the other, they're like, oh, well, I was doing business with this company. I'm used to this process. It's a 100% different process from what they're used to. You know, going from retail to broker, it's you know, some people, you know, it's really hard for them. And so training the, you know, former retail loan officer into the broker world it's big. It's a really big challenge. And what we've done is, you know, mapped it out what the difference is between one channel to the other, and then shown them like how they can let their client know exactly what is going on. Because, you know, for anyone that's never been in the broker world, it's very different. You're broken out to different lenders, and when they get the disclosures and stuff like that, it's not coming from Elevation Mortgage, it's coming from that individual company. And it's really about setting those expectations up front. So, you know, and the same thing with the realtors is we're setting those expectations up front, helping the loan officer basically explain to them how the process is different and how it's going to be better.
Yeah, yeah. So you know, just like anything, right? It's about that relationship you said, and then, you know, really just being clear on the communication and clarifying, and getting in front of those perceived challenges of that's what that switch is going to be, right? So, you know, those real estate agents don't care, or partnerships don't care, as long as the end result is good, right? Like things are being done correctly and communication is there. They're ultimately their client is getting taken care of. That's the biggest thing, but we have to communicate that, right?
Yeah, and I think with most people, people don't like change. It's like, well, I'm used to this process, I know it. But if you're not always evolving, you're not always changing things up, then you're not getting better. And that's what we're about. That's what we're about. Changing things the way that you have done business for the last, you know, 20 years or whatever it may be, and showing them that, hey, maybe it can be better on this side. Maybe it can be better by implementing this. And so that's what we're all about. We're about helping, you know, our loan officers, but also our realtor partners and our clients to streamline the process. So, for instance, our loan officers don't have to follow up on chasing clients for documents. We help them with that process. They don't have to register and disclose the loan. They don't have to deal with the process. We help them with that.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because it brings me back to, you know, I had a film crew that would always do all my filming, and you know, good group of guys, right? Good group of guys, and they would come and film and do a lot of projects for me, and I got them some other gigs because I was always, you know, if you do a good job for me, I'm always trying to make sure that you're in front of other people, and then you know, we'd you know, faced a lot of face-to-face communication, you know, in the past, you know, real intimate types of communication. So I get an email from them, and it's like, hey, we're doubling your prices. Right? You're doubling your prices. Email, doubling your prices. And of course, I'm like, really? You know? And what was so missing out of that was, well, there's two things missing, right? There's two things missing. One, I should have got a call, right? An
Yep.
email when you've already had conversation, not just if we always went by email and that's the only way you could get me, then yeah, okay, that would be the only acceptable time you'd email. But when you have face-to-face communications and all these intimate projects, then probably a call would be in order, right? Hey, listen, but what's the second piece of that puzzle? Well,
Why?
what's the benefit to me, right? Like, and so there's no benefit to me. It's just like, hey, we're raising. It's like, okay, so, but is it just because y'all want to make more money? I mean, what's the benefit, right? So I think that goes along with loan officers too. And I've even heard loan officers were like, well, why'd you switch? Well, I mean, it gave me a good comp pack and I'm making more. It's like, and then everything's like them. It's like you could, if you say that, you got to be really quick about it. It cannot be the big subject, right? It's got to be,
I want to make more money.
I switched for you, for this process, for your client, for this is how it makes it better. This is, and just, man, I tell you what, this is the vision. This is where we're trying to get. And this is what we're trying to do together to, in this partnership. If we're framing it like that and we get people excited about that, they're like, oh, heck yeah, man, heck yeah, this is great. Nobody really honestly cares that much how much you make, right? Like on a deal, like that's not a benefit to them unless you're going to be a dirty loan officer and paying for stuff that you shouldn't, right? I'm going to get you some World Series tickets for this, but because you're doing deals and you're very non-compliant. But otherwise, right, it's not a benefit to them. So what's a benefit to the clients that you're going to be serving? What's a benefit to the agent that you're serving? So I think that's very, very vital. Now, I love you're going back to some of those points. A lot of things, what you're doing is you're trying to take the loan officer when they come in the system, you're trying to make sure that they're supported in a way that they're not chasing conditions. They're not the ones sending out the list. Is that correct?
Yes. So I think the biggest misconception with brokers is that it's impossible to scale up, right? Because most brokers operate in a one-man shop. So if you're a one-man shop, you're collecting documents, you're reviewing the application, you're chasing down clients for docs, you're registering the file, you're following up once it goes into process. And some brokers process their own loans. I think that's literally nuts. And then you're expected to go out and meet more realtors, get more business, and then you're supposed to send deals to realtors by your lead generation efforts. Now, you add all those things up, you can see why most brokers maybe only do less than 5 or 7 loans a month.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear. They've got
because you're working like 60, 70 hours a week to do it, right? Yeah.
And I was there. When I started my broker shop, I was the only person there.
Yeah.
And then of course, I had my wife tell me to stop working and stuff like that. But the way my system works is, number one, we have someone to help with lead generation. He's basically our ISA. He's making calls for you. He's making calls to the realtors, referral partners to help you generate that business. Number two is we have an LOA that is grabbing the loan applications as soon as they come in. They're collecting documents. They're following up, getting those documents to us. And then, once they have all those documents, we run the credit and then they send it off to you to structure the file. Okay, so structure the file, and I'm obviously going very high level with this. You go out to the client, tell them exactly how we can help them. And then once it goes into contract, or if it's a refinance, it moves over to processing. We've got a pipeline manager that registers and discloses the file for you, and then follows it from contract to funding. So they are managing everything that's in our pipeline, making sure that the appraisal is ordered on time, make sure that the client pays for the appraisal, make sure that the appraisal is assigned to our appraiser and make sure the appraiser is actually giving us that report back on time. Same thing for the CD process. CD goes out, make sure they sign, make sure they get that final CD out as well. And then obviously once we're clear to close, we have a closer in place that will also help with getting the final CD balanced with title and the lender, and then getting those documents over to them one day before closing minimum. So there's not like a scramble at 10 a.m. in the morning trying to say, where's the docs? Where's the docs?
Yeah. So it sounds like you've got a really good process. It probably didn't happen overnight, and there's probably some shifts in your mind that had to happen. So, where'd that shift come for you, and how that transformation come about for yourself, going from, hey, I'm just quote unquote, I'm just this broker, I'm just this loan officer, I'm just this one-man shop, whatever, to, hey, listen, I've got to do this a better way. Like, first of all, was there a breaking point that kind of made this switch, and what transformed you to get to the level of going, okay, I've got to add people, I've got to get out of the muck, et cetera? What were some of those challenges?
Yeah. So I think when I first started out, it was about money. It was about saving money because, if I hire this person, I'm going to have to produce this much more.
Yeah.
Where am I going to get that business from?
Because Jeff Bezos delivers all my Amazon packages. He holds all the money.
And honestly, I think I make the joke that what was it? Amazon, Google, and one other business all started in their garage.
Yeah.
If I should show you a picture of where I used to work. It was in my basement, and it was a crowded bus. It's actually now my gym.
Nice.
But we had just moved into the house, and we were remodeling our bedroom upstairs. So that basement area of where my office was also our closet. And so there was this big string on the back side. If we were on a camera, you could see all my clothes.
Nice.
But I think one of the things that most loaners struggle with is hiring someone else, because they say, well, I can do this faster.
Yeah.
I want, if I get this request in, I want to do it right then and there. Well, okay, that's great until you are doing 10 loans a month. Once you hit that 10 loans, you're going to be so overworked and so stressed out, and you're not going to be thinking properly. And as we know, the more we work, the less our brain works.
Yeah.
It's on overload. And so, also having that peace of mind where you can just kind of sit back and let someone else do those $10 an hour roles. I think the part I think that we're, I have before I got back into loans, is I had a background in process improvement. So that kind of goes into all of this. So how can we make the process more efficient? Do I need to be registering and disclosing the loan? No. You find someone that can do that for you, because let's say it only takes 15 minutes. Well, okay, great. But what can you do in that 15 minutes? Can you call a realtor? And how much business can you get? Let's say you have 10 loans a month that you register. That's 150 minutes.
Yeah.
Could you use that time more valuable than doing administrative tasks? So I think the part that, really got to me is like, well, I know where my max is. And, it was 10 loans, for me to have a life and also, not work crazy hours. And that was my max income. I couldn't do any more.
Right.
But I wanted to do more. So how do we do that? You You hire a few people, you hire someone to help lead generate. That was my first task, is helping with more loans getting in, which if I kind of think about it, was the wrong thing to do. I was like, I don't need any more. It's like, but I think that, the first, I honestly, if I were to do it all over again, I think the first hire would be an LOA by far.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, 100%. The thing we often hear is, well, my real estate agents or my clients want to only talk to me.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Bullshit.
I like it. I like it. That is that's what called a pattern interrupt there, everybody. You're like, okay, now what is that? What are we going to say now? So, yeah, I agree. But that's definitely the BS we put in our head, right?
Yeah, there are some agents out there that only want to talk to you, and there's some clients that only want to talk to you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's more clients.
Yeah. It's more.
I mean, at the end of the day, you want to do as much business as possible. So, we don't want the ones that are going to be super needy or going to pull all of your energy.
Yeah.
We want the ones that are going to be, easy to manage. And here's the thing with that is, and what I've realized in growing my business is, the more that you are upfront with the client and tell them your process, the more they're going to follow it.
Yeah.
If you don't tell them your process and how you manage things, they're going to make their own.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, well, if you remember one of the first big long emails that you sent myself in Dallas after you became a genius loan officer, is you sent this email, and in that, one of the things that made Dallas and I the happiest, if you remember, was about the real estate agent you said no to, you fired, right? You said, okay.
Yeah.
And let me ask you something. After you fired that agent because they didn't do business the way you wanted, that really fit in your model, or because they were high maintenance and not really and didn't do business the way you want to. What happened to your business from that point to now? Did it just go down, man? You dropped it. Oh my gosh! What happened from then to now on that?
So we, and this is when I was still doing loans myself. I think the month that I came and joined Glow is I decided to, okay, I'm going to push everything off on my two loan officers. Now, of course, they weren't originating at the level they are now. I think they were doing about 6 loans combined. We have about 20 loans in the pipeline now.
So you went up, you figured out, hey, I'm going to do business a different way. Yep. I'm going to support my people in a different way. I'm going to work with them in a way that empowers them. I'm going to say, hey, we're going to work with the folks that want to work in the way we work and partnering with the right folks. And it may be necessary for me to fire someone, and I did fire someone, and now I've over tripled my business.
Exactly. And so, the best way to figure out which agents are the people that you want to work with, ask them, is that, hey, I'm going to be stepping back from originating. And I went out to all my realtors and said this, I'm going to be stepping back from originating, and I'm going to be letting my team do it. However, I will be managing it. I'm going to be overseeing it, and then let them talk and ask them what issues you have with this.
Yeah.
Now, some will be kind of like, well, I want my people to, because I know you, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then you have to dive in deeper, ask the right questions, like, well, why is that important to you? Why is that? You're going to get the real issue. Mm-hmm. Like they say, well, I want you to handle it. It's like, I think you refer that as what, service issues. It is not the real issue that
Yeah.
they are having.
Surface level issues. Yeah. I mean, there's just,
Surface level issues. And you have to dive deep and ask them the right questions on like figuring out why they want you to do it. And maybe it's something that you haven't explained to them. It's like, well, I don't even do that.
yeah. Yeah.
Or maybe he's like, hey, my team is trained up and this is how I expect them to do everything. If they're not doing that, you can always come to me. Or, hey, and especially now with my process, the way it is, like no matter if it's, one of my 3 loan officers, they're going to be doing it the way that I have designed it and the way I've been doing it for the last several years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, yeah, having real deep conversations, like you said, and asking them good questions and, hey, what do you feel like the benefit would be to this process, and asking them to try to come out with some benefits that could be to this change. Right. And having those deeper, those deeper conversations, if you have them, just know if you get 10 people, so let's just say you get 10 agents that say, I don't like to do business this way. You're not going to get that. It's probably not going to be that many, but if you have a big pool, let's just say you have 10, you may have, 3 or 4 of them that is really legit, right? They're not going to maybe, so 30% maybe not want to do it that way. The other 70, a lot of times that big bulk of it is just having a deeper conversation, and you can move past that. There's going to be a few that, right, we know that, hey, listen, it's just this, we've changed the ball game, we've changed what we're going to do, and that may not work for them and they can't get past that. But we know that in our system, we can get more. We know that we can go after new agents, and we can partner with people that are, doing business. And that, the fact is we all have to, part ways with some people, not because they're necessarily some bad person here.
Right.
There's some people that, you almost qualify that way because they're just, oh my gosh, they're just horrible to work with. But most of them are great people. They just have a different way of doing business, and they may not see that benefit. And no matter what you do, and you have to know that, hey, listen, at the end of the day, I can go out and I'm going to be able to serve more people because I'm going to be able to do these activities that's going to get me in front of the right agents. And I'm going to continue having these conversations. And you're right. You kind of said it off the bat, training your people up, training your real estate agents up. Like, here's the process. Here's the way it goes. And when you get that new agent, it may take you, don't get frustrated. It may take you a few weeks or few clients going through the process to train them exactly how your system works, so they know and they're comfortable with it. And but it can be a beautiful thing. It's going to take a second sometimes, but just continue to have those evolving conversations. But what I would say out there to anybody is, don't give up on that. If hey, listen, oh my gosh, like people just start shrinking. This one agent doesn't like the way I do business. Oh, okay, I'll do it all. I'll do it all. I'll go back to, and then all of a sudden, and that could be maybe your first conversation, which could be horrible for some loan officers because, if you're out there, maybe your first initial conversation to try to make this change out of the gates, it's like not going well. And you're like, oh God, no, okay, never mind. It's like, no, push through that. There's going to be a lot. I promise you, agents really, for the most part, in the 90 percentile, care about just the client getting taken care of, them knowing what's going on during the deal, and knowing that you care. And at the end of the day, they just want to know you. They want to know you, Reed, are going to make sure that when rubber hits the road and there's an issue, you'll step in, you'll make that conversation. Doesn't necessarily mean you're calling them or you're calling the client. It means you're going to handle and make sure your team is, and you're going to listen to them and make sure things are taken care of. And that's the end of the day. That's all people really want. They want to know. And really, I think we have to always look at it too. It's like, what does my brand say about me? Like Reed, like, for example, what does your brand say about you? You take care of the client, you do these things. When you build your brand that way, then it's like, that is just the extension. And people look at it as, okay, may not be Reed doing it, but that is his brand. And his brand says they will communicate. His brand says it will close on time. His brand says they're gonna treat client like family. That brand all speaks to that, and I think you're building that brand with these agents by a lot of things you're doing, and I think that brand is speaking volumes, and that's why another reason why I think you're growing.
Yeah, and one of the things that any of the agents that were kind of reluctant with it, I said, well, what would you rather, me helping a few fires to be put out, or being able to manage all the fires?
Yeah.
And that's really what it boils down to, is not only that, is I can manage all the loans that are in the pipeline. So if I'm doing my own loans, my LOs are doing their own loans, and there's a big fire that they're not able to handle, well, guess what? I don't have time for that now,
Right.
if I'm doing my own. But it also brings to another point, is now I have taken a step back from originating. I'm not on all those calls with the clients or the realtors, but now I can provide help with all the agents and all of our referral partners on how to grow their business.
Yeah. Yeah. You can do a lot more cool things.
Yeah, I did 2 classes last week.
Nice.
If I was originating, I would have never been able to do that.
Yeah. You got free, kind of like you said earlier, really went along that. You have to have free thought, right? You have to have some time to have the free thought to where you can, take these events, have these extra conversations, help in a different way that other originators aren't, and the brokers are not. And you're creating a platform for your folks. And I know you've had some of them be in the trainings we've had as well, and you're trying to just really help grow yourself, your brand, the awareness, and continue to expand. I know you're looking for a couple other good people that fit your model there, and you're out of Colorado Springs. You're looking at Colorado Springs, and where else?
New Mexico.
In New Mexico. So
all of Colorado and all of New Mexico. Obviously, working remote is that's kind of our model. Obviously, I have the office here, but it's not required to come in unless you're not producing. But thing is, we will help you if say you're only doing 3 or 4 loans a month. We're going to help you go from 3 to 4 to 10. Because it's simple, it's about the conversations you have. The more conversations, the more business you get. It's literally that simple.
Yeah, and you're creating a great platform for it. So if somebody was trying to get in touch with you, just to have a conversation, a cool conversation, and whether that be just, hey, I'm a broker and I just want to kind of talk through some of the things that you had success with, or hey, I'm a loan officer wanting to possibly making a switch. Where can they hit you up at?
Obviously the easiest is my cell phone, 719-445-2959, or they can drop me an email. It's Reed at elevationmtg.com.
That's Reed with REED.
Yep.
Elevation.
Yep. Elevationmtg.com.
GG.com. Okay, cool. So if you want to have a conversation, reach out to him. Reed's a good guy. I mean, Reed has had a lot of success, and I'm happy for you. You've exponentially grown so quick and tripled your business production. I know you're trying to triple again, and there's a lot of things you're doing for the folks you have in your that are loan officers now, trying to I think one guy in particular, I think he's personally like double or triple, I think, in this amount of time.
Yes. And I didn't even realize that until like Thursday or Friday. I was looking at the numbers, and I knew we had 20 in our pipeline, in processing, and then I just filtered on his name. I was like, holy crap, he's got 9.
Yeah. And he was doing like 3 or 4 or something.
He was like 2 or 3. So literally he and there were some months that he did 0. So it's about staying that consistent pattern. And when someone's doing 9 loans, generally what that means is maybe the next month they'll suffer and do 0. But the way our process is set up is not in the loan file after it goes into processing. Now, he's obviously touching base with the client and the realtor, letting them know where we are on a weekly basis, but that's a simple phone call or an email or a text message. He's not constantly staying in, making sure, oh, did the disclosures go out? Did they sign? Did we get the appraisal orders? Stuff like that. So he's kind of hands off now. And so it's making the process. I see that he's less stressed. And you know, things are going really well. So happy for you.
Yeah, I'm glad things are going well, and you're supporting your people. And I know you're taking back a lot of the trainings and coachings to your team. And it's just little degrees, right? I mean, just those little tweaks, and all of a sudden one more thing happens, one more win happens. All of a sudden it's like, okay, wow, I can do this. And all of a sudden your mind opens up, and you know, that's exciting. So you got a really exciting stuff. We're happy to have you in our group, and I look forward to just seeing so much more growth out of this, and it's an honor to be in your circle, and so glad that you came on. So you out there, yeah, thank you so much, Reed. But yeah, anybody out there too, you want to hit us up, geniusloanofficer.com. Hit a scheduled appointment, and we'll get on the call, and we'll have a conversation with you and do all we can to help you. I think Reed can attest here. Like we're all on it. We're slightly obsessed in the group, I think, of trying to give as much value and just do everything we can to will you to win. And so of course it all depends on how much you're willing. Like Reed. What I'll say about Reed is Reed asks questions. Reed continues to ask questions. Reed is involved in the groups, and there's no wonder why his mind has expanded, his vision has expanded, his salesmanship has gotten better, his management, or excuse me, his leadership has gotten better, his influences, you know, all these things just degree, because Reed is doing the work. It's not all us. I don't want to, that is for sure. It's Reed doing it. We're just giving some guidance, and he's taking it and running with it. So Reed is the big credit for this, not us. But man, I'm excited.
You were the captain. You just kind of showed me where to steer.
There we go. Aye, captain.
But no, I want to kind of add on to that point is, you know, if you want to join Glow, great. But just remember that you've got to put in the effort. It's not a shiny object. It's not that, you know, magic pill is going to all of a sudden create what you want. There's the roadmap to help you get there, but you've got to execute.
Are you telling me you can't just take that diet pill, man, be jacked and tanned?
I mean, I tried that once, but it didn't work.
It didn't work. Or you can't go on those ones that you just sit around and like pulsates and just makes you ripped and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, those belts.
Yeah, belts. Get one of those. We'll probably have to put one of those together. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, out there, you got to do the work. We know that you have to take, you know, action on the things that are needed to take action on. But it's just one more degree, and all of a sudden things just start opening up. You start to see things that you didn't see before, and it's like, aha! You get those aha moments. But you have to continue to ask questions. You continue to have to do those little steps and take those little actions, and you will get the aha moments, and you will start to change. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, what has happened? So I hope everybody out there is unrecognizable in the next 6 months. So that's what you want to be, is people can't even recognize the person, the mindset, the leadership, all that you have in 6 months from now. They just won't recognize that within you because you have grown that much. So Dallas is not on here, and he is probably sitting around just twiddling his thumbs while we talk. But me and you had to do some work on here and help some folks. But no, I'm just giving Dallas a hard time. Y'all be nice to Dallas when he comes on here. But anyway, we are happy. But from Dallas and I, thank you so much for being a part of Glow, and you all out there, thank you so much for listening. Hit us a like, subscribe, and hit us up with a chat. So remember, limited risk equals limited income.